Hi, I'm Jim, W6LG for Ham Radio Basics. Welcome to my radio room here on Wolf Mountain. Been asked several times about what is all of that stuff behind you, and today I'm actually in the station instead of a green screen, and I'm going to go through some of the boxes. At the time I was manufacturing and designing antennas, it was great to be able to put an antenna on a vehicle, connect it to a bulkhead connector, and make some tests in here with the computers and the transceivers. I'm no longer manufacturing antennas, so a lot of it now is just remnants from that time. I have the basic antennas are 3 towers. One has a 10-meter beam. The other 2 towers have 20-meter Yagis, 4-element monoband Yagis. And one Yagi is on the south side of the house. That's the most prominent part of the property. The other Yagi is down the hill just a bit, but it really works the best. And it's 100, maybe 120 feet down the hill. Both are fed with hardline, 7/8" hardline to cut feedline losses. Probably I'm delivering 95% of the power to the antennas. The antennas have 6 dB gain. There are 2 of them, so combined, probably in the ballpark, and including sloping ground, and this is a huge range, between 10 and 12 dB gain. What really counts is what can I hear? So it hears really well. The antenna down the hill is really quiet. There are no houses in front of that antenna. The antenna on the south side of the house shoots through the house to Europe, so a lot of times I'm picking up noise from inside the house. Anyway, I'm going to go through the station real quick. I'm going to take the camera off of a short tripod that's mounted on, put it on a floor tripod. I'm not going to hold the camera. I'm just going to shoot pictures of the stuff and then try to explain what it is. It has to do with basically feeding 2 antennas and how do I balance it out, achieve a good SWR and a good result. So give me just a minute. I'm going to move the camera. I'll start with the transceivers and kind of work my way around. If you have a question at the end, send it out, and I'll be happy to answer it. Been busy with doctor's appointments and other things, but hopefully that's going to slow down just a bit. All right, be right back.
Okay, so those are the 2 K3s. One on the right's for SSB. I've got an SDR receiver connected to the IF. That's what the boxes are, playing with that. The other one's for JT65 and Whisper. To the left of those 2 is the Elecraft P3, which is a pan adapter. On the opposite side is the KPA 500 amplifier, which is good for 500 watts. It's kind of a nifty amp. It's showing it's at 38 degrees C. Above that and running, just for demonstration purposes, is a very much modified Drake L4B. By that, the power supply is in a similar size box to the RF deck. It has 2 transformers in it. The amplifier has instead of 2 3500Zs, it has a GS35B. It's capable of easily running legal limit. To the right of that is another Drake L4B. That's also modified with a higher voltage plate transformer. To the right of that is the ASU FT450, and above that is a switch box for different antennas. It's homemade. Below that are the 3 rotators for my towers. That thing in the corner is a power supply for 12 volts. The Drake speakers are connected to the 2 transceivers through a switch, so I can select any one. There's a Drake MN2000 antenna tuner that works great. Further to the right is yet another speaker, so I can do left and right channels. So it could be VFO number 1 and VFO number 2 when doing dual receive. The little box above is used to switch between amplifiers, keying lines. I use two monitors. One's logging DX cluster. The other one is the SDR receiver connected to the IF and acting as a pan adapter. All the way to my left is a, if I get there, is a homemade amplifier. The bottom part of it is a Staples file cabinet turned around backwards with a Verac mounted in it and an on and off switch. The RF deck is pretty much all homebrew and frankly pretty junky. On top is a small antenna tuner. The little black box measures the temperature and if needed increases the fan speed inside the amp. So it's looking at the exhaust temperature. At 32 degrees it starts to come on. Now these boxes are going to be tough to explain. Start at the top. Each antenna has its own little tuner system. So I can, one knob is one antenna, the other knob is the other antenna. So I can do a little bit of matching, let's say from 25 to 75 ohms. That's a box made out of a Drake speaker, a 2-watt meter, so I can measure the power going to each antenna and decide if I want to change. I'll show you how that works. If I want to change the power to one antenna. Okay, so that box switches in different delay lines. These switches are different lengths of coax that come out the back. Antenna number 1, antenna number 2, and by adjusting the matching network above, I can change the amount of power going to each antenna if I want to. Most of the time I want them balanced where they're getting the same amount of power. You can see they're both mid-scale for about 100 watts. And actually are a little bit more than that. So that's what that box does. The bottom box is a standard antenna tuner, and its job is to match to a 50 ohm. So if I'm using both of those antennas and I can't quite get them as a combination to 50 ohms, I can invoke that antenna tuner. So my SWR will be less than 2 to 1. And I can select either transceiver with switches, coax switches that are bolted to the bottom of the desktop. So I reach underneath to put them in the line. I don't need to see them. I know that transceiver to the left is switching it to the left. Switch the knob to the right, and the transceiver on the right is connected. So that's my station. This is the microphone I use. It's an old static 10D. It's from the 1960s, but it has an Art Deco look. It's a really good mic, has great quality. The antenna tuner behind it, I frankly don't use much. It's there, I have it. It's some of the Drake equipment. There's another antenna tuner. For a guy who doesn't like antenna tuners, I've got a lot of them. That's the Elecraft antenna tuner that matches the KPA 500. Transistorized amplifiers don't like high SWR, so that's pretty much a necessity. All right, that's my station. I think I've shown pretty much everything. So hope you've enjoyed that. Thanks for joining me. This is Jim, W6LG 73.